It's season 7 of the 15-ish minute coffee chat with Anna and Selena. Selena is the owner of Howley Socially Inspired. She's our Hawaiian rock star who loves all things tech and says coffee is her love language. Anna owns Nomadabout. She's the adventure-seeking copywriter who loves a good road trip and has a passion for supporting military spouses and entrepreneurs. Join Anna and Selena weekly to listen in on hot topics that will build your brand, keep you current with best practices, and help you grow as a business owner or entrepreneur.
Blogging has many benefits, including setting yourself up as an expert in your industry and creating a community of loyal, supportive customers. Today, we're going to chat with guest Rachel Carpenter, the Military Mom Collective. We'll be talking about how building a blog is the foundation for building your small business community, how to find your voice, share your perspective, and all the elements of a successful blogging strategy during today's 15-ish minute coffee chat.
I am so excited. I'm going to just say this, and it's straight truth. The reason why I have this very successful business today is because I started blogging. No joke. Anna, Rachel, and I were speaking of our ages backstage about certain things when we started, and I started kind of a long time ago. And it started off as just a journaling process with the family, and then some of us dropped out and some of us stayed in it. And it's definitely was a stepping stone. And so I'm a big fan of blogs, people that want to do blogs, people that have blogs. You know what I mean, Anna? Like,
I totally do. In fact, for any old fogies like us that are out there listening right now, we went as far back as like MySpace and Napster.
Yeah.
Illegal Napster downloading and blogging during that time frame era. Like,
remember that word
in our conversation where we were all blogging at that point.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, this is 20 plus years of blogging. I'm not going to call us fanatics, but definitely supporters, because like Selena said, I mean, one of the ways I feel like I became a better writer and copywriter was through blogging. I'm my own personal blog and then writing for other people and just, anyway, all those kinds of things. So blogging is, anyway, we're going to have all the conversation today.
Yes, we are. I mean, we'll have it with Rachel, but see how excited we are. And I just want to make this clear. Anna and I are two very different people in the sense of what we do during our projects. I love the tech stuff. So when I say I love blogging, yes, I wrote, mine was like a mom comedy type of writing, very conversational. And Anna, she could write anything. I mean, if I could tell you the different clients we've had, it just amazes me that she can make copy sound good for XYZ. You know what I'm saying? So please don't think like just to blog is just so you can be a writer. Like there's other things to it that you can learn within that field. So anyway, okay. So here's my call to action question for you all. Do you blog for your small business? We just are curious. Do you have one on your website?
Or not on your website, but you maintain it somewhere else, like Facebook, or you LinkedIn post, and that's how you blog about your expertise. I mean, there's lots of different ways to blog, and this is one of the things that I think is really important to understand is blogging is not just, I mean, I always said this to Selena earlier, right? Like you say blogging and then you imagine this mom in her sweatpants writing about potty training her 3 young children. Right? Like that's what you imagine. But really blogging has expanded to so much more. Writing articles and video content and becoming an expert in your industry and sharing all the knowledge base. Anyway, it's exciting, I think. Right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay. Before we ramble on more, let's, Thank you, John.
GeoCities.
Yeah. I don't,
He's even
know what, John?
We are.
I don't even know what that is. And we're going to have to ask Rachel if she knows what that is when she pops on. But here's the deal. I'm going to talk about this. Oh, hi, Anna. How are you? Sorry, just getting my Monday morning or Tuesday morning going. All right. Anna, go ahead. Why don't you read Rachel's bio and let's talk about her a little bit before we bring her in.
I would love to. So I've actually known Rachel for a while and love this lady. So she's the co-owner and editor of the Military Mom Collective, which is an online community and resource for military families around the world. Their readers span from Japan to every state in the United States and around to UK and Europe. She's also the editor at the Association of Military Spouse Entrepreneurs, the virtual resource for military spouse entrepreneurs in all stages of business. In her little free time, she loves reading all the books, drinking all the coffee, and spending time with her Air Force husband and 4 children.
Ooh, she's my kind of gal, right?
I know, right? All the books and all the coffee, she hits both of us just like right in the feels.
Yeah, totally. So without further ado, Anna, let's bring Rachel into the crowd.
Here she comes.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to the show, friend. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's ask this question, Rachel. Do you know what in the heck John was talking about with GeoCities? Do you even know that?
I do. I didn't use it myself, but I remember it. Yeah. I'm like, oh gosh. He put it up there and I was like, ooh, oh man.
That's some ancient blogging.
I know.
That's like petroglyphs.
I'm imagining like tablets and like nails and like rocks and like that's how you did it.
That's the original blogging, the tablet.
Right,
the original.
Totally.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, Rachel, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for saying yes to this. And we're so excited. But why don't we get our coffee cup selfie out of the way? Because I know I could ask you 10 questions before we do it. But
yes.
My Starbucks twin brought her Starbucks City cup and we're excited. So on 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. All right. Thank you for the selfie. All right, let's dive in. Anna, go ahead. Let's do it.
So the first thing that we wanted to talk with Rachel about is, I mean, we all kind of know what blogging is. So we're going to skip over that like very basic, like what is blogging and blah, blah, blah. You know, but the why behind blogging is really what we want to focus on today. So our first question for Rachel is, how can a blog grow and sustain your small business? Because if you're going to spend the time doing something, you want to make sure there's an impact, right?
Yes.
So what do you think, Rachel?
So, I mean, I think that your first instinct is to reach to social media, which is really nice and good, but social media is just like a snapshot. A blog is something that gives you a lot more space and freedom to actually talk about your business. I really like the idea that a blog is an owner or, a company speaking directly to their customers instead of just this bland generic message that you sometimes get. It's just a really great opportunity for you to talk about everything about your business. You can talk about the behind the scenes of something, development of a product. You can talk about how you started. I really love origin stories and I like making those into like a series so people come back and they want to keep reading more about you. And it's also a place for you to be vulnerable as an owner. I gave this to another small business owner, and I said something of like, you just have to be a human. That's my like motto in life. Just be human. Yeah. Like, I think that when you're like that and you're just a normal person running this business and talking to people, it really elevates your voice and your brand, and it makes people, as Moni from AMC says, that like no trust factor. People like you, they know you, and they trust you.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, I don't even know if it's a question, but it's like, I'm sorry, Anna, if you did have that secondary, like, how do you even find the time though when you're busy? Like, how do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, so the nice thing about a blog though, is that you could literally block out like one day a month and create a bunch of content and then just schedule it. You don't have to like sit there and look at it all the time. As for me, that's really kind of like my whole job is watching those stats and looking at what's trending. But as an owner, especially if you're a small business and you don't have a lot of extra funding or anything yet, just take one day a month, and create your content. Or like we have a social media calendar that's between Amy, my other co-owner, and myself, where we can put ideas and we can share things where we don't necessarily have to finish them right at that point. You come back and you build on it later. And the other thing, I think people get really nervous about a blog. They think they have to do it every day. You don't. Like, it's up to you. It's what works for your audience. It's what works for you. At AMC, we publish one blog a week, just one. And we're very successful. It's well read. At the Mom Collective, we do 5 days a week. And then we have a pretty active social media schedule on top of that. But it's really up to you. I've seen people who are successful where they post a blog once every 3 months and they're still successful.
Right.
I mean, they still have coming back.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
I think some of the idea behind that is like, what's the purpose of your blog, right? So a lot of times people blog to keep their website content fresh, right? They pop it on their website. It reinvigorates the little spiders to come and crawl your site and index everything. And they say, oh, something new to read, right? And it gives you something to share on social media to point them to. But there's other reasons for blogging that are behind that, right? Like, I mean, for me, a lot of times I will take the snippet of social media that I wrote, which what I had time for in that moment, you know, the 5 minutes that I popped something out, and then I can turn that into almost article length at some point. I mean, just by adding a few links, referencing who's an expert in it, or my own experience or something like that. And you can stretch out even tiny bits of content into something fairly significant.
Right.
That's another really good point, is that if you are a product-based business, a blog is a great place to like link back and promote your own products. I mean, because if you have somebody reading and you're talking about something, you throw a link in there. One, it boosts your SEO, your search engine optimization, which we all know and love and hate. It also kind of brings it just creates that like funnel within your own website and within your own business where people are constantly circling back. But I love what you said about social media, and it also works the other way. You can write an article and you can turn that into 4 or 5, however many social media posts that you want to reference right back.
Yeah.
One article is like every line of your article could end up a Twitter post. That's it.
A
month and a half of content you've got going on.
I got to tell you, my favorite thing in a blog is like, I don't know, but I know with WordPress, right? There's like a Twitter plugin that you can actually add to your site. And within the article, you can actually like put a tweet that you want people to tweet out. And so then I don't know, it's furthering your social media, right? Like, oh, they made it easy. Why not? Just click it and it's out.
We talked about how we felt ancient because we were talking about our first blogs before the show. But blogs have evolved into so much more. You can do so much more with them than you could when they first came out. Before, it was literally an online diary. I mean, it was just you writing, and we talked about like RSS and doing your own HTML codes. You don't have to do that anymore. You can, I mean, you can do so much with it that there's really no limit to what you can do with a blog or what it can do for you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So true. I just, I did show Rachel my very first blog, and we were laughing because she like, and I'm like, I thought you were like 24, and she's laughing, but she's like, I remember those days, and I remember that look, and I remember, and so, you are talking to people that know, guys. I just want you to understand, we did not just wake up yesterday and start talking about blogs. We've been through a history of its evolvement, right? So
and it's always evolving, guys. And so that's why it's kind of important to, if you're uncomfortable about it or you're unfamiliar, find someone who is, because as much as we love it and despise it, analytics are changing all the time. Metrics, Facebook is changing all the time. We just, some of us have to stay really on top of it. And even I reach out for help to people. I don't know everything because I don't know everything. I don't have time to know everything.
Right. No. So you heard it there. You can outsource stuff. You can reach out for resources. Just do it. So you can do something like this to kind of, we talked about it. SEO, driving traffic to your business. Oh,
so we got a question comment. So what's the difference between a blog and an article?
I don't even know if I'd really be able to like answer that well. Like an article to me seems more like formal, and it seems like something that really follows like a specific pattern. To me, blogs have more freedom. You can be a little more creative with them. And blogs don't necessarily, I think the important thing is when you have a blog, you want to have like a niche or a specific perspective, but at the same time, you have more leeway than you do with like a specific article. Although, I mean, they do have similarities too at the same time. I just like the freedom of writing for a blog. And I talk about, people ask me all the time, what does the Military Mom Collective write about? And I'm like, I mean, we write about anything we really want to. We try to hyper focus it on military families, but at the same time, we write about mental health. We write about good deals that are happening at Target right now. We, we kind of write about whatever we think is relevant to people. And I think the blog gives you that freedom to do that.
Yeah, no, I love the style that you guys have formulated your community as. I think it's so genius, and
thank you.
You know, it's a good formula, which will lead us into the next question, I think, right, Anna?
Yeah, it absolutely does. So our second question for Rachel is, what are the elements of a successful blog for small business owners? And we've kind of talked a little bit about some of the things you would want to include in it. But like, are there any like top tips where you'd say you need this, this, and this?
Yes. So I don't know about you guys. I'm a planner. I really like to kind of have things itemized and outlined out. I think to have a successful strategy, you have to have some kind of plan. I said that you don't have to do it all the time, but you do need to kind of have a consistent schedule, whether that's every day, every 3 days, or every 3 months. You have something consistent so that people know to come back. It also holds you accountable and makes sure that you're also following the same timeline. And then it helps you plan everything else out, which goes into my next tip of don't just do the blog and then leave it there. You have to promote it. You have to find ways so that other people know about it. I've seen where people, if your blog is embedded in your website, you have like a pop-up that pops up to take people to your blog, or you put it in your social media, like we said, or on Twitter, a little like snippet from the blog article, and then it directs people back. You have to have a way to find people to get it. My thing that I love is we have this huge social media spreadsheet that probably looks ancient to other people, but it works for us because it's very visual, and it kind of shows us exactly where everything is, and it lets us plan really well, because depending on what kind of message you're going about, for us it's a very broad message. We put in holidays, we put in special days that we want to highlight. So just having a way that you can plan and map that out works really, really well. And then I think my third tip is to just be yourself. That's I hate that because it sounds very generic, but it's what works. I don't want somebody who's forcing. I've worked with other people and helping them like build a blog out and build it, their voice, and don't force it. If you have to force it, it's not there. It doesn't come that way. You know, you need to be kind of sensitive to other people reading it and have some kind of, good PC language and everything, but be you, right? So you want people to know you, because that's, again, difference between a blog and an article. A blog is more personal. Be yourself, let that voice come through, let your perspective come through. And I think that reaches and engages a lot more people than somebody who's just throwing facts at someone.
Yeah. So can I say that it's like, it's a lot like, it's a lot like the whole, like when we talk about finding your ideal client as a business owner, right? Like a blog is a huge part of that. Like you want to be true to yourself as a business owner, but also your audience that you're seeking to find. When you're writing the blog or when you're sharing this content, it really needs to be in that same voice that's going to speak to those same people. And that's hard to do in an article when things are more formal, right? Because anyway, I mean, it's not a blog versus article, but I feel like the blog gives you that opportunity to really share that like personal side of who you are, but still be an expert on whatever the subject or industry is that you're in. So when I blog, I always write it from the I perspective, right? I'm talking about me, my experiences, why I think it's important, versus an article. There's very much you should be doing this, or you can look at these options, or saying like there's a lot of the onus placed on the person, whereas the blog is like almost an invitation, like come join my group, and right, the way you write, they're going to keep coming back, and if they like what you're saying, they're going to keep coming back.
And that's a really good point too, of like, you can give tips in an article, but it's a very personal, like, this is what works for me, and I'm doing X, Y, and Z very well. People trust it more because you're like, this is an actual person who's talking to me, as opposed to, some unknown person behind a screen that I've never met before and I don't know anything. And then it also fosters that connection. Do you guys ever have that where sometimes with people on social media, you almost feel like you know them because you do so much with them?
Yeah.
One of my team writers wrote about her make-believe friendships with people over COVID, like Cody Rigsby from Peloton because she saw him every day,
right?
And different influencers. But it's people that you connect with. If you have that connection with people, they trust you, they know you, and they're more likely to stay loyal to you and your brand. And I mean, there's just no negatives to a blog. I don't think there are.
No, I love that you said. I want to just touch on the second tip where you said, like, make sure you're pushing it out to social media. You work so hard to create the article, the article, the blog, and don't forget, like, whatever website you use for your blogs, some of them have tools that says, would you like to push this? And you connect your social media things, and you can connect it straight in from there, there's, whatever, if you have a scheduler, I'm sure Rachel them use, sometimes your scheduler can connect in with your website, and it just kind of intuitively allows you to schedule that. There's so many things to make this easy to share.
We do. Right? We have a scheduler that we use, and then we use Facebook tools because that seems to give you better metrics if you use Facebook tools. But I'm a huge proponent of, there's so many different ones that you can kind of play around with and figure out which one you like the best, because they're all a little bit different, and it doesn't have to cost you a ton of money either. Like there's some that are even like free, or they're free for 30 days. Try them for 30 days. And if you hate it, no harm, no foul. You just back out. I mean, so true. So true. And I will say how old I have been blogging. When I first started blogging, this like little old first blog I had showed Rachel backstage, you would just hit publish, and people who subscribed to your RSS feed got it. They read it. They commented on it. You knew they were there. And, I had come back like 10 years later after that, after a little hiatus, and I had hit publish, and I was like, crickets. Like, I don't know what it's kind of like, it's marketing, right? You have to let people know it's there. And, that's when I realized, like, oh, you have to put your thing on social media. And like you said, it was Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest. And I was like, there's so much to do for your blog post now, but there's tools for it.
Yeah, I think this is this is a big conversation. And you mentioned this when we were talking about the successful things as part of a blog, is that there needs to be a strategy behind what you're doing. So when you're thinking about the content you're posting, like you're talking about, we do specific holidays or things that are trending at that time. So as small business owners, we need to be thinking longer term. And you can look at a calendar and say, okay, so for example, I'm a military spouse. So things like Veterans Day, Memorial Day, those are holidays that I can have very specific posts on to boost my small business, but also be very personal about. And then as a woman, there might be something that's very important to me, or I'm a mom, or you know what I'm saying? Like all these different titles that we carry, we can find those things. Or people talk about writing, choose your 4 pillars, and that should be what your blogs are about or whatever. But whatever it is that you choose to do, make sure that as a small business owner, you're thinking through the longer term strategy. Like, how is this going to help promote what I'm doing as a business owner? Right. And but your business actually is blogging.
Right. That's why the planning part of it is so, and again, it doesn't have to take forever. It's up to you. We try to, so right now trending for specific sites like ours is very hyper local content. Well, the Military Mom Collective is global, so we don't have a hyper local. So we try to focus on what is really important within our community on certain times. And so sometimes it's as simple as there's a new, what it was recently, a new advantage for like breastfeeding for TRICARE recipients. And I'm like, it's as simple as taking that article and then writing a blog about your own experience with it and why that's an advantage. Or, we had Veterans Day microblogs are a whole different thing. They're just on Facebook or like Instagram. I have some team members that really love doing that. We had a couple for Veterans Day that did so well because they just resonate with people, and it's right at that time. So thinking long-term is also important. And just, I can't stress enough. Have a plan. Even if it's you writing on paper, have
right. Right.
Yes.
Can I say, Rachel, like, what's your thoughts, right? So you've done a whole year now, right? You're going into your second year of your business and you have blogs. Like, you hear that term evergreen content, right?
Yes.
So is that important? Do you think, like, for this, obviously the planning, and what is your thoughts on that?
I am constantly pushing, like a lot of my writers, make it more evergreen. The problem we had with COVID is everybody wanted to write about COVID, and hopefully it's going to go away. But right. I was like, you can write about it, but we also need to make it where it'll last 10, 20 years. Like, I don't know if we'll still be blogging 10 or 20 years from now. I think we will. But if we're not, these things need to be relatable in 10 to 20 years. It's important because if you keep, I don't know, there's a balance between hyper focused and too hyper focused. You want to really make sure that you're talking about something specific and you're really highlighting on it, but you don't want to be so specific that, a month from now,
never use it again.
Like, who cares about that anymore?
Right.
And so a lot of what I do with AMC is we do a lot of writing about entrepreneurship and elements of entrepreneurship. And Anna's one of my writers over there. She's but we do that a lot where I'm like, write about it and write about something like a CRM or write about your social media strategy, but make it so that, 2 years from now, that new entrepreneur that comes in can still use this content, as opposed to they come in and they're like, oh, there's no more, MySpace anymore. What am I supposed to do with this?
Right.
Although I'm pretty sure MySpace still around. So
I think it is somewhere. I think it is. So if somebody actually is still on MySpace, could you just drop a comment and say, yeah, I'm super
I would
active
be kind of horrified to look at my profile, I think. Probably.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. So I love what you just said though, Rachel, right? Is like, and it like, not every piece has to be evergreen, but like, those are great fillers for your second year, your third year, your fourth year, right? When you're planning content out to your social media posts to drive people back to your website to then, it could capture
we have some
attention.
Really great content on the Mom Collective that we reshare through our own articles, and then we'll reshare through social media that they were written. One of our top posts, like our top blogs every single month consistently, was written like 4 years ago. Because Amy and I, my partner, we bought the Military Mom Collective from previous owners. And so, but I mean, it was 4 years old and it's still extremely popular. People still go to it. And I'm like, that's the very definition of evergreen content that will last for a very long time.
Yeah.
I think it's also a testament to just the content, the value of the content you have on there too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people don't keep coming back if it's not something that's value-based. So when you are, as a small business owner, writing a blog about something, really think about what value are you providing your readership. Like if you're just like announcing a product, why do they want it? What will it do for them? How will it help them? Or a service you're giving. What's the purpose of it? Who is it that can use this? And really think through that user experience of reading the content that you're putting out there and how that's going to help them, how that's going to help them in the long run so that you can build that 4 years later. You're, got this thing where people are still coming back to it and you're like, this is good. This is a good investment because they've created something good from the start.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so true. So, hey, I'm going to just drop this little like techie tip here. So Rachel knows probably that evergreen content is visited because they have some kind of analytics that tracks what pages viewed the most on your website. And so always make sure if you're going to do the blog, connect your Google Analytics because you want to know who like how often are people coming to your website and what are they looking at? And so Rachel knows, hey, like one of our most top pages, your top posts is evergreen content from 4 years ago. So make sure you do that because then she can take that information into her planning strategy, she says, because she's like, I know what resonates and she can create a really effective plan for, so anyway, I just want to make sure I said that because like, I remember when I had done a blog post for a military blog that I was writing for. And when I pushed it out, I don't know, I was like obsessive about like, oh, look, it's got 10,000 views now. Oh, look, it has 20,000 views. Like, you know what I mean? But it just kind of gives you a little bit of that energy that you're like so excited that somebody found your content like appealing, right? Like you're like, I'm so excited. And so
we do that for, so on the Mom Collective, I have 35 writers, and we do that once a month. I have somebody that goes in our analytics and they pull from that month who were the top blogs that were performing, and it's not a like, haha, you know, look, look, you did. It motivates everyone, and then it gives people a lot of like springboard ideas on like what works, what are people wanting to read, and then it helps Amy and I because we get to see kind of, I mean, we poke at our analytics all the time anyway, but it lets us see like what's really working, what's our audience really want to read, and so we can kind of build on that in social media.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's all connected, guys. SEO, Google Analytics, all the things, blogging. And I think, oh, okay. So good. Okay, I'm going to pop up and we're going to, Anna, do you have any other questions for Rachel before we move on to, where people can find this lovely woman?
No, I think we go ahead and talk about where we can find her. I just blogging is super important. I think Rachel did a great job today of just kind of sharing like that, like, reminder of why it's so important to have one. And if you have a blog and haven't done it, and haven't posted to it in the last, I don't know, year. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here, folks. I am not great about updating it. And I am a writer. So I get the struggle of how hard it is to do. Right. But I'm motivated again now after this conversation is I'm like, I just reminded myself of the value that blog is going to have in the long run for my small business. I'm looking.
This is what I love about what Rachel and Amy has created, right? They have a community of writers. So she just said she has 35 writers. That is 35 people that are coming up with content for the whole year. So look at it like that. If you don't want to be the only writer, do a collaborative business blog. Reach out to people in your industry and say, hey, can you write about this topic? And I'm going to backlink you, I'll to your website, I'll credit you, all the things. And guess what? They then share your content on their end. I mean, there's so many things with blogs that you can do. So, that's my favorite is what Rachel and Amy have is a very collaborative one. Cause then you don't feel that struggle of having to, what am I going to write? Or I can't write or, so that's my favorite. Honestly, Rachel, that is like my favorite thing that you guys have is that and letting people know that it doesn't have to be by yourself,
And it isn't. And my favorite part of having so many people writing for us is we get all sides of everything.
Right.
And so we hit everybody in the military community. We were so excited. We have grandmas on our team. We have military grandmas. I love it. I was like, the only thing we don't have is military dads, and I'm trying to get them to come on.
What, you guys? Okay, wait. First of all, Rachel is going to tell you how to find the Military Mom Collective. I mean, literally, you have no excuses, right, Rachel? Tell everybody where to find them, and then we're going to make another plea.
Yes,
military dads, they're looking.
Yeah. We are literally everywhere except TikTok. That's the only place we are not on. You can find us on all these links on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go to our website. There's a contact us section on the page if you're interested in writing. If you want to collaborate with us, we love collaborating with people, especially small businesses. We are huge on small business. And then if you want to find me directly, I am also on all of these things. Or, on Instagram, I'm at Rachel with the coffee because, all the coffee, but I'm just Rachel Carpenter everywhere else. And if you want to find me at AMC as well, go head on over to AMC Association. It's amcagency.com. I'm everywhere. People tell me that all the time. They're like, you're everywhere. I'm like, I don't feel like it. But then when I break it down, I kind of am. So,
You're like, right. No. Okay. You guys, no excuses. Okay. Again, the plea here, military dads, where are you? Rachel and Amy are looking for you. So
we do. We want that perspective because it's different. It's different for everybody. And I was like, we want to share your voice. I've had a few that have, kind of worked with us a tiny bit. But I think because we're military mom, it kind of throws people off. But I'm like, no, we want dads. We want you guys too.
Yeah, we want all the things. That's super important. And I think I love that. I love that. Okay, Anna, moving on to our toolkit.
Yes. We're super excited to share Rachel's toolkit. So Military Mom Collective every year puts together a holiday gift guide that features military spouse-owned businesses and I believe veteran-owned businesses as well, Rachel.
Yeah.
And it's just an opportunity for you to shop small business, support military families by purchasing the products and services that they offer. And then also like, it makes it so easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, not to like toot our own horn, but I shop off of our guide every single year because one, it's so easy. And then two, it's products and people that I actually like and know. And so it makes it so much more personal. We say every year that you should support small business. I think this year, even more so, like those small businesses really are hurting. They need your support, and small businesses are the three of us. I mean, that's it's a real person behind the business. But yes, we have a lot of military spouse businesses. We have some veteran-owned businesses, and it's so much work, but it's so much fun to watch it roll out and see all the different products that are in there.
Yeah. Okay. Can we just say, back by popular demand? This is not the first year, people. So this says something.
The fifth one.
5. This is something that people want. So don't forget to head out. Anna is going to throw the link in the comments so that way you guys can just click. Or you go to the 10 million places you can find them on the social, other than TikTok, guys. Maybe next year that's in Rachel and Amy's like radar, right? They're going to be like, all right.
We feel like the super old people that just don't understand TikTok. I got to ask like my teenagers, like, am I doing this right? Like what's going on? Actually, one of my team members did a bunch of reels for us for holiday this year. And I'm like, you're amazing. I never would have thought of this. And that's, again, reach out for help. Sometimes it takes another brain to give you that idea where you're like, that works.
Oh absolutely. Gosh, I love it. I love it. So go, guys. Here's the toolkit we're giving you for the holidays. Later today, we're going to actually pop a link on our annaandselena.com site just so you can kind of go support. You know, we love what Rachel and Amy are doing, and we want to make sure like, hey, you know what? Let's put a little banner. Go shop there if you're needing ideas. So that's there. Thanks, Rachel, for you and Amy like providing another year of that.
Yeah,
Anna, what's our tip? Of course. What's our tip, Anna?
Our tip today from Caitlin Eldridge with Eldridge CPA, who is an amazing CPA. She recommends to track your business miles using Miles IQ or QBO, which is QuickBooks mileage tracker. And so just keep in mind that if you're driving for business, you can expense those business miles. So don't forget that, you know, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, but especially now working from home, if you have to go somewhere, you get to track that and you get a cash in on it. So that's our tip for today.
Thanks, Caitlin. I know I was just chatting with her in Voxer this morning. So I love that lady. All right, Anna, this is your part. You're so good at it.
All right. So listen up, everyone. We are going on holiday for the next 2 weeks. We're so excited. Yay. Happy holidays, everyone. We're back on December 7th with Sarah Talbert and Sandbar Marketing. And we're going to be talking about finding your copywriter voice. And this goes right in with this blogging conversation we just had, right? Like where you're like, I don't know what to write or I don't know how to write it. So we're going to be talking about those kinds of things, really being able to reach your audience with what you really want to say to them. And that can be super frustrating and very difficult when you're a small business owner and not an actual writer, right?
Yeah.
So join us on December 7th. And of course, we'll post it in all the things. And so you guys can be part of it.
Yeah. You know where all the things are. They're right there. The icons are right there on that slide. So you can't say you didn't know how to find us. You know what I mean? So come find us at annaandselena.com. That's our website, which, you know, like I said, we've been saying this for the last few months, but we're working on it. And by the new year, you should see a whole new facelift for it. Connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or your favorite podcast platform. Just search for that 15-ish minute coffee chat on YouTube or podcast, and you'll find all of our past 60 4 episodes.
You guys are amazing.
Yeah. And we're excited. We don't see, like, we joke that we're going to be like old ladies with our, like, you know, our webcams and rocking, and you know what I mean? And yay, John, I'm so glad you're going to do this. I will tell you guys, I take our lives and I actually do put it into a blog. Actually, I'll be very truthful. I have somebody that helps me write my blog to get it, so I can get it out in a timely manner and not like 5 years from now. You know what I mean? Because that's the truth. And I just wanted there to be fresh content on my site. So I have somebody that helps me, that helps prep it for me. And I go in and I do my little thing, and then it's like publish. So you'll see.
I wonder if he's going to resurface the Copper Canyon GeoCities blog.
Please make that your first blog content, John, because that would be hysterical. Like, that would be awesome. You know what I mean? And okay, so Rachel, thank you again for coming on and talking about blogging and like just like the importance of it and what it can do for a small business. And
thank you guys. You're so wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. So
my gosh. Okay, give hugs to Amy and all the things, and you guys like rock it this year, and we can't wait to see what you guys do next year.
And have lots of Thanksgiving turkey, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes. Bye guys.
Bye.